time. So we do have a partner sponsor, which is PayFast. So while we wait for the last minute or so, I'm just gonna play their video so that if anybody is unaware of what PayFast is and of what they do, they get to understand them. And if anybody's looking to launch like an online store, an e-commerce store or platform or anything of the sort, then they can look at the website. So I'm just gonna play the video now, and as soon as the video has stopped, then the official session can start.
I'm not able to see this. Oh, there.
Okay.
Classes to be able to subscribe to monthly lessons online, so he desperately needs a payment gateway as flexible as him. Fortunately, there's PayFast, the perfect solution to all your online payment needs. It's easy to...
Yeah. Could everybody...
Yes, I saw and hear it and heard it.
Okay, so to everybody that's in the session, welcome. So we're about to start. So before we start, I'm just gonna introduce myself and everybody whose face you are seeing now on the screen. So my name is Refilo Mogale. I am the director for Startup Grind Bloemfontein. And thank you so much to each and every single one of you for making time to avail yourself and to come and listen to our awesome speaker and to really just engage with us as a community. So we're really happy that you guys are here, and we're hoping that throughout the sessions you will engage with us. And if you have any comments or questions, please do put them in the chat box so that we can you can engage with the session. So we're about to start. And the person that will be doing the pre-interview is Mr. Siphe Zenani, who is the co-director of Startup Grind Bloemfontein. So yeah, you'll be hearing from him for most of the session. So before we start, I'm just gonna read a quick little snippet from Niels' bio, just so that everybody is on the same page and is aware of the wonderful things that he is doing. So I'm just gonna read Niels' bio, and then I will officially hand over to Siphe to take over. So this is the first episode of our digital transformation series in business. So we're really just trying to explore how digital tools can be used in your business to give it that edge or enhance it and maximize processes and ultimately optimize profits and all that. So Niels is our first speaker for our digital transformation series, and we're quite excited to have him. So just to read the bio, Niels Verspui is the country manager for Room Raccoon South Africa. During his internship with Research Customer Journey, he recognized the need for innovative, automated hotel and hospitality systems to work and deliver cost savings to businesses, while obviously providing an outstanding for guests. So Niels' digital transformation series, or episode rather, is focused specifically on the hospitality industry, but some of the lessons can be used and applied to other industries as well. So I am gonna switch off my camera and officially hand over to Siphe and Niels. And Niels, we're very excited to have you here, and I'm just really looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Hold on, I can't hear you, but you are on unmute.
Okay.
I can far away hear you.
Siphe, you're still sounding quite far away as well. In the meantime, I'll take over. And then once you've sorted out your audio, you'll just let me know and then we can continue. So in true startup grind style, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the business side of things, we really just like to know the person behind the business or behind the entrepreneurial side. So my first question for you, Neil, has to do, can you tell us a little bit about your background and really what inspired you to pursue entrepreneurship? So can you maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the whole entrepreneurship space?
Definitely. Now first, oh, I can hear myself. There we go. Okay, it's better now. Definitely. Thank you so much again for having me. I'm also very excited, especially also Bloemfontein. As I said, I have quite a few friends in Bloemfontein. Still haven't been, so I hope you guys are going to tell some nice things about Bloemfontein also, that I get more excited to come visit. But thanks for the introduction. So I'm Niels from Roemerekoen. I live in beautiful Cape Town, but I think as you can hear, with my beautiful strong accent, as I can't get rid of it, I'm from the Netherlands. However, I immigrated here almost 4.5 years ago and don't want to go back anymore. So a little bit about me. I studied in the Netherlands commercial economics. It's a little bit like marketing and sales, something you choose that when you don't really know what you want to do in life, and that was the perfect study to choose then. And while I was studying, I had to do some internships, and one of them was in Cape Town. That was 6 years ago already, and I really loved it. Fell in love with the country and came back to do my internship for a beautiful boutique hotel here in Cape Town. And during that internship, I came across some things in regards to technology that I thought can maybe be a little bit different. And that's how I kind of got here. Maybe some nice things for you guys to know why I love South Africa. I love it really because of the people, because of the beautiful different things you can experience in terms of culture, in terms of nature, in terms of the cuisine, in terms of the beautiful hotels there are across the country, but also that you, as you said, that there is snow on your side. Now on our side you have beautiful ocean, and in KwaZulu-Natal you have monkeys walking on the street. I think that is something very unique. Any other specific things, Rifu, you want me to focus on the intro?
I think,
Niels,
okay, sound CP
Yeah.
CP is fine.
Awesome, I can hear you
okay, no, I'm
perfectly.
sorry. Okay, no, thank you very much, Rufilo, for the handover. I think, Neil, you've touched a bit on the question that I was about to ask you right now, but I just wanted you to tell us about the founding story behind the Roemerekoen. But now I'm hearing a bit. But can you tell us a bit about the founding story of Roemerekoen and how it came to exist in South Africa?
Yes, definitely. So just a little bit back to where I started then with my internship. So the first time I did my internship was in 2015, which was at a sales and merchandise company, which was called TriLink Dynamics. And I was always very into the fast-moving consumer goods, which is like the products that all are in the supermarkets. Then I fell in love in South Africa, but I had to go back for my studies to do my another semester of specific projects. And while I was there, I obviously needed to find a side job to be able to finance my life. And I started working at or I actually applied at a beautiful restaurant. They figured out I was not really well known with the culinary kitchen, and they said, Niels, you walk fast, but you have not really much knowledge. Maybe the neighbors, which was a little boutique hotel, and there was a very nice lady that worked there, which was coincidentally the owner, and she asked me if I could come for a job interview. Now I came the next day, popped by, and actually I started working there. And that's where it actually all started, because that's also where Roemerekoen started. They were busy, I think 6 months before that, starting to build Roemerekoen for her little hotel. She is the business owner for the Bliss Hotel, and her husband was an IT guy. And they started to figure out there was not really systems in the market. She was spending a lot of time and money on doing manual process, etc. And they were starting to build it. And while I was working there as a student, doing the reception, serving breakfast, and in the evening serving gin and tonics, I was also playing a little bit with the system, but we still doing things on paper because we didn't trust the system yet. Anyway, long story, I started figuring out about Room Raccoon. Then I needed to do a half year my final thesis for my degree, and I was like, definitely I'm going to do that again in South Africa. I want to go back. So then I moved to South Africa, actually immigrated already, even though I had to finish my studies, and worked at a beautiful 24-bedroom boutique hotel here in Cape Town. And during that research, what Refilo also explained a little bit in the intro, it was focused on the customer journey. So what the guest experience, how can you improve that as a business, as a hotel? How can that result in more efficiency and automate processes and give the guests in the end a nicer experience while you make even a little bit more money? And while I was doing that research, I actually figured out that the solutions we had were quite manual. Think about when you book a hotel, generally hotels require a deposit payment to secure your reservation. We had to send a credit card authorization form to let the guest fill in their credit card details. Now, I think if Payfast hears this now, they are like, we can help. But that's really not a secured way. It is very manual, but also for the guest, really not. I wouldn't be really happy if a hotel asked me, here, can you fill in your credit card details and send it back to me. So that's one little example, but also automatic emails, the way it look and feel. And I just figured out while we were working there at this beautiful hotel that the systems were really lacking. And then after a few months, when I finished my studies there, they asked me to work there as a marketing manager, which I did for a little while. And then I actually sent these systems that we had in place an email like, guys, can we have a meeting? I have had a proper research that I think I can help you with. And they didn't respond. Even I called them, they didn't really say anything. And I was like, maybe we can try to bring Room Raccoon to South Africa. So that's kind of how it started.
Wow, that's a very interesting story. That's a very, very, very interesting story. But there's I'm sure you've heard other people talking about this one, that there's a divide or a gap, a huge gap between what you get to experience on your thesis, which is your academic life, and the actual real world, and how you get to effect the solutions that you learned or came across during your research. So as someone who came into the field as a student for your studies, just try to take us through your professional career now and tell us about the mistakes that you've committed and the challenges that you've came across in your career and in business, because it's not easy.
I think what is first also important, I actually had a chat with a friend of mine yesterday, and he's like, how nice it would be if you just have a great idea and you just bring it in the market and it's going to become a big success. And I think that is, everybody is kind of desiring for that. And everybody's thinking, but how do I come up with that idea? And I also ask myself, how do you come up with an idea like this? Or I'm not saying that Room Raccoon is the best idea, but I mean, like, if you come up with an idea to start bringing something into the market. And what I really think, and the point I want to go to, is I think that comes onto your path and things that you create yourself, with people around you, with experiences you go through, with not stopping or not giving up. But to get you to your question is, what have I learned so far? Now, what I have learned is that it goes very slow. The mistakes I have made, or I don't think it's really a mistake. I think it is something that could have been much faster. And is a funny example. Now, I started almost 4 years ago with Room Raccoon, and I think it took me 7 to 8 months to have 5 customers. At the moment, I have a new colleague joining. Maybe you saw her roaming by earlier. Gracia, she joined 2 months ago, and she's helping me now with selling the product. And she's about to make a sale today. And I think she's going to make another 5 very soon. And what I really learned is that when you start something, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about, how to do sales, how to talk to customers, how to actually solve a problem, how to do a lot of things. And what I've really learned from that is try to surround yourself with people that do have a little bit of experience with it. Try to maybe set up a little coffee with them. Often such people want to do this for free. They don't have to get paid. They find it exciting if you are also motivated, and they will help you get through that process and give you a little bit of tips which you maybe have never thought about, but it's like the smallest tips there are that can really make a big difference. So that was for me the biggest learning. In terms of things that I've done wrong, I don't really know. If definitely I have done something wrong, but I don't know really by heart what it was.
No, that's a great one. That's a great one. Actually, it shows how fortunate you are to get into a business whereby you didn't really get to make so much big mistakes that have gotten you into trouble with certain customers. But when it comes to Room Raccoon, can you tell us a little bit? We know that it's within the hospitality industry, but now can you tell us about the functionalities of Room Raccoon and the value that it adds within guest houses and the hotels?
Perfect. Yes, sure. I'm gonna not make it too complicated and too technical because then it gets boring and maybe I even fall asleep. But what basically Room Raccoon does is we are an all-in-one reservation system. So probably everybody knows about Booking.com, Expedia, Airbnb, and all these, we call it online travel agents, OTAs. That is one part of our system that we work with. So what often happens is you get, as an hotel, bookings from all these different channels, but what you have to avoid is that you get overbookings. Because if you start getting 5 bookings on Booking.com and 3 on Airbnb, and you only have 1 room available, and on Expedia you also get a few bookings on the same day, that can result in overbookings. So that is the first part we do, is channel management. So we automatically update the rates and availability on all the different channels to avoid that you have the wrong pricing on a certain online travel agent, or that you get an overbooking. Because overbookings costs in the end a lot of money, and also is obviously not nice for a guest. I used to work obviously in a hotel, and I had to deal once with an overbooking. Now that's not the funniest thing to do, because guests are just very disappointed. You have to find alternative accommodation. Also, what we do is a booking engine. So just like the online travel agent, Booking.com and Expedia, you want to compete with them to let guests rather book directly. So guys, if you're listening and want to go travel sometime or in the future, always try to book directly with the hotel, because hotels pay a serious amount of commissions to these big international companies, which is first annoying for the South African economy, because the money just goes straight to America or somewhere in Europe. That's why I was also very, and I want to tap on that part a little bit, because you obviously think, now, hey, Roem Raccoon is from the Netherlands. This guy is also Dutch. That probably also goes to Europe. I'm actually very proud. I feel myself more South African than the average South African in my office. But let's tab a little bit later on that. And then also a part is the property management system, where you can basically see who's checking in today, who's checking out, the invoicing, did they maybe request a twin bed, or are they vegetarian for breakfast, or the reports that you want to see how well are you performing. So that's kind of what our systems does. And basically why we are so unique, and what our main focus is, because we are all in one. Generally in the hotel I worked with, I had 3 different systems to do this job, but also due to this, it will really automate processes, because your booking engine is the same as your property management system. So when the guest has stayed before, which is captured in the property management system, will immediately reflect on the booking engine. So the guest is remembered, but also it will really help you give the guest a better experience. Why? Because of that remembering, for example, of the guest, but also if the guest has booked or is about to book, we also integrate with a payment solution, which was it's 2 of them. One of them is from the mother company of PayFast, and another one is another solution. And there is where the guest payment for a deposit without having to send a credit card authorization form, and then also This will then really give the guest a nice experience, but also we have very smart way of doing revenue. So say for instance, when we see, just like with the airlines, hey, today at 5 o'clock that plane is very popular, let's increase the rate a little bit, but the one at 6 o'clock in the morning is is not so busy, so decrease the rate a little bit. We do exactly the same in our channel manager, and that will really give the hotel more exposure, but will also outsmart the competitors if they don't work with Room Raccoon. So that's it didn't sound like a nutshell, but it was kind of a nutshell.
It is in a nutshell. It is in a nutshell, and we really appreciate. But I would have appreciated more nicely if you could just allow a few pointers towards the benefits that the customer might enjoy for Room Raccoon, from Room Raccoon.
Yeah, so that is
I hope I'm not putting
automation.
you on the spot.
No. But that's that automation. So you will really reduce time on manual processes. Another example, for example, we fully automate accounting. So what you just also saw with PayFast, they integrate with, I saw Shopify and I saw Xero. Xero is an accounting system. And at the moment, with most hotels, they do it in a very old-fashioned way. You get a booking, you fill it into your property management system, and guest stays with you, they pay, you put it into the system, and at the end of the month, you're going to check what has been paid into your bank feeds. You're going to check your property management system, which bookings all came in, and you're going to try to connect them all and put it into your accounting system. Room Raccoon can fully automate that. Also with that playing of the rate. Yeah, sorry?
No, thank you, Neil. No, I'm saying that Room Raccoon hired the right man here. Room Raccoon had the right man here. So if you noticed during this COVID pandemic right now, a lot of hotels and guest houses were impacted by COVID. Can you just tell us a little bit, why is it very important for that industry, the hospitality industry, to digitize its services, and for a small business guest house or a startup, let me just say a startup, we are startup grind after all. So for a startup guest house or for a startup hotel, what are the small steps that they could take towards digitizing their processes in the business?
Yeah. No, awesome question, and I think it's a very important part to focus on. So what Room Raccoon actually does is it makes you as an hotelier really enjoy being an hotelier and really being able to chat with your guests, look after them, giving them a good experience, and let Room Raccoon do your processes. Basically, what it then result into is that sorry, I lost my track what do you say that? The train of thoughts.
Train of thought. No, I was just asking, can you just briefly tell us about the importance of digitizing your business processes when you are within the hospitality industry, and what small steps can a small hotel or guest house owner take towards digitizing their own processes or their business?
Yeah, no, exactly. So so where it was going then, that everything is that you can really focus on being happy and doing what you want to do best, is making your guests happy. And due to Room Raccoon, as I said, it will automate processes. So the reason why I would like to set up a system like Room Raccoon, firstly, is because due to the pandemic, hospitality is hit the most. A lot of hotel experts or hospitality experts has left the industry because there's just simply no job. So they had to find another way to find an industry where they could get a job. So that's the first important thing, is there is less knowledge in the market, less skills available. Also, being a startup, you don't have really money to do revenue management, to have a proper accountant, to have 3 people at front desk, etc. We can really reduce the times of these people, but also we can really streamline processes. Again, I'm coming back to that. Also, in terms of the way we help you do smarter revenue management and get you more exposure with all the different channels that we can be on, like Booking.com, Expedia, Agoda, we can be on many to give you more exposure. Being on the right technology, this allow you to be more visible, and also to get people to rather book directly, for example, with the online booking engine that we provide. So in the end, it will save costs, it will increase your revenue, it will save time, and it will give your guests a better experience. That's, I think, a reason why as a startup, you should implement a system like Room Raccoon if you're a hotel, but also for any hotel that is working with an outdated solution.
Oh, that's great stuff. That's great stuff. You know, as people who've always been interested in the work you do, we've been following you, listening to your podcasts and all. And we hear that now you want to be based in South Africa. You want to have a strong base in South Africa for your operation. And that is very interesting because when you're looking at it, our South African environment, I won't say it's very hostile to startups, but we have a very slow adoption of digital innovations and technology. Can you just briefly tell us now why? Why do you want to have your major operations in South Africa?
No, awesome. That was also the point that I kept saying I'm going to talk about it later, and I even I didn't think we would you would ask for it, and I would sneakily try to tap in it again. But thanks that the kind of these two relate with each other. So yeah. So the reason, as I said, why I love South Africa is for various reasons, but also the intelligence. There's a lot of people that know what they're doing. They speak very proper English. A lot of people are very willing to work hard for for a great future, which I think is something beautiful. But also what I think is the coolest, and I think we are very fortunate as South Africa, is that we are one of the only countries that is in the same time zone as Europe, with very proper English and a little bit lower labor costs. So that's why what I wanted to go back onto where I focused on a little bit earlier is why we don't bring our money overseas. We actually bringing a lot here to South Africa, is we want to change the whole operations here to South Africa in terms of looking after our customers. Why? English is the best here compared to any European country. Secondly, a lot of people seem to be much happier here. But also, the quality of people you can get over here is really, if you compare it with different countries, is really amazing. And what we are currently moving over is the whole customer success department, which basically means that the markets we look after, which is Germany, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Croatia, France, Belgium, England, the Netherlands, that's all the markets we are currently looking after, but also the whole southern part of Africa will be looked after here from South Africa. And I think that is a very cool opportunity for myself here, but also for South Africa itself.
Right now, listening to most of the countries that you just mentioned and your reason, I figured out that the countries you've just mentioned are more based in Europe, right? So by assumption now that there's a huge cultural divide between South Africa and Europe. So just tell us, what were the main differences that you had to grapple with, and to ensure that you adopt and adapt your business model to suit the South African environment? Just tell us
Very
a bit so that
interesting question.
Yeah, we
Very interesting
really do
question.
want to know what.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, basically. Sorry, I also wanted to add that what opportunities did you see that exist here? I know that you spoke about the English, but English and the labor cannot be the only reasons right now. Just tell us a bit about those.
No, I think if you would have asked me the question, and if I didn't do my studies, I would have struggled a little bit with this question. Saying that this was part of my studies to actually find out, hey, if you're going to start exporting a product to a different country, which I researched for Singapore, but also had to do it for South Africa when I did my studies here. And there is a very cool model actually for that called Hofstede, where you can kind of fill in the different countries, and it will give you 6 pillars of what is different. Now, I can't compare now Europe to Africa, because Europe is also all very different people. I used to live in Spain also. The people in Spain are completely different than Dutch people. And Dutch people are a little bit similar as the Germans, but also not really. And even though Belgium and the Netherlands speak the same language, it is also complete different type of culture and the way people think. But I think the biggest difference between the South Africans and the Dutch people is it is really much focused on relationships. So for you to understand, the way I could bring Roemerikun to South Africa and get it sold was really to visit customers or potential customers, to go out to the different villages, meet them, show them the system, build a relationship, and try to get them onto the platform. In the Netherlands, for example, we have never met anyone. It has all been online. So that is one very big thing, is relationship management. And it has to do a lot with the pillar if somebody's individualistic or not. In the Netherlands, apparently a lot of people are very individualistic. And here in South Africa, it's much more about, hey, how is it going with me, but also with my family and friends. I also see that very quickly, and I think you guys can relate to it. When you, for example, want to do a party together or a braai, everybody will invite each other, and you will have fun together. In the Netherlands, it's a little bit different. So I think that culture here, also, like what I said, people are a bit happier here than I feel in the Netherlands. That also, you also see that with people working in the company. I think that has a big impact on that part.
No, that's a great one, Neil. That's a very great one. But now, can you just be specific in terms of the opportunities now? Not to say we are trying to steal your ideas, but were there any specific opportunities you spotted in South Africa that you couldn't spot in Europe?
Yeah, no, I think what we have to understand here in South Africa, we are not a first world country, which is in the one breath frustrating, but in the second breath, it's also amazing for opportunities. Why? Because the markets are not saturated at all. If you, by matter of hyperbole, want to sell toilet paper, you can easily build a business with that. In the Netherlands, you wouldn't have a chance to be able to do that. So I think that is something that we are quite blessed with here in South Africa. Also, what I really think is South Africans, or I really know, that's why a lot of European companies hire South Africans or have agencies from South Africa, are very creative. So people are also really coming up with cool new clothing brands, cool new technologies, and there's quite a lot of happening in Cape Town at the moment in terms of investing in technology. So I think in terms of opportunities, there is a lot available. I just think do something you really like. Just a funny example, I always wanted to do something. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I think that has to do a little bit with my family situation. I'm one out of four children, all four guys. I was the only one playing volleyball, and my other three brothers were playing basketball. And I always felt like a little bit, I'm the outsider of the family. And I don't know if that really had much to do with it, but let's say that was it. That always like motivated me, like I'm going to show my parents that I'm going to be better. It doesn't mean that if you are an entrepreneur, you're better than someone else, but that was obviously in my mind. So I always had like the idea, I need to do something. So in the beginning, I obviously started my career on a 13-year-old handing out or bringing newspapers. Then I went out and started working at little restaurants and bars. And then I wanted, when I was 20 or whatever, 19, I started doing a little bit of DJing. So in the Netherlands, that is a big thing. When you don't know what you want to do, you go try doing a little bit of DJ. And a friend of mine had one of these, how do you call it, where you can play on it? The Pioneer set to mix the...
Yeah. A CDJ.
But I only did it because I thought it was cool, not because it was my passion or I really enjoyed it. So after 6 months' time, I was like, okay, just leave it. Let me focus on my studies again, because I didn't enjoy it. So kind of what I want to say with that is, do something that you want to really focus on, that will give you energy. And it can be the simplest idea. It can be, hey, I love skirts. I don't think there is very nice skirts in the different shops that are near to me. Go let me design skirts. Or, hey, toilet paper, there's no black toilet paper. Let's start bringing out black toilet paper. Or something that you think, oh, that is something now actually I am missing. No, but do you understand what I mean? It can be something super simple, as long as you believe in it yourself and you get passion out of it. And I think that is something that has helped me always. I've been always very passionate about Room Raccoon. I love hospitality. I love technology. And every day when I wake up, it's like, oh, wow, we are actually now a serious company in 3.5 years time. I did have to invest quite a little bit in the first 2 years, not being able to get salary, etc. But in the end, you're like, okay, this is actually very cool that you have built this, and it's also something that keeps motivating you the whole time. I hope that answered it a little bit. So basically, it means, hey, do something you love and something you get energy about from. Otherwise, you will give up.
Yeah, one thing that I can tell you is that I can see that you've spent a lot of time in South Africa, and you've actually started adopting one of the things you said you love about South Africa, which is creativity. Because that toilet paper idea, it got my imagination running wild. Because with toilet paper, I think the essence of toilet paper is seeing what is on the toilet paper. But now, Niels,
now you can't see it anymore.
no, you can't see it when it's black. But now, Neil, tell us, you've spoken. I think you have a very long portfolio, because I think there's nothing you haven't done right now. You've been a waiter, you've been a DJ, for example. You've made people dance. So just give us a few words of encouragement now, because we are close. We are closing our chat with you. Going to the question, can you just give us some closing remarks in the sense of encouraging us now, as entrepreneurs in the Free State and around South Africa? What would you love to tell us before we move to the question and answer session?
Awesome. Now, what I always think is what is important is believe in yourself. If you have an idea that you think will give you energy, try it, do it. Don't give up after 2 weeks, because it will take some time. It will really not happen overnight. Surround yourself also with people that promote you or that support you, and don't have people that judge you about what you're doing. Or, for example, in my case, I often had people, Niels, come, let's go for a party, come, let's drink, let's do this, let's do that. I really said in the first 2 years that I did that, and I'm not saying everybody should do that, but I said to myself, let me just focus on my work, try to make it happen, and not go party every weekend, not get drunk every weekend, or not business focused. So I think that is something to keep that focus and keep that goal, the end goal for yourself, and surround you with the right people. And also, what I tapped on a little bit earlier is try to get these people that have a little bit of experience and that want to share every now and then a little bit time with you to help you a step further, the things that they maybe know a little bit better than you. Because why I have, for example, I call it my mentor. I've known him for almost 10 years, and always when I have a little problem, I just call him. Hey, his name is Storm. Hey, Storm, I am experiencing this now. How would you deal with this situation? Because he has probably had this situation already 5 times. So sometimes you must fall yourself, but sometimes also nice. Hey, if I fall, let's try it to kind of soften it a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of a bit my encouragement. And stay creative, stay who you are, and go for it.
No, thank you very much, Neil, for those nuggets. And right now we are about to go to our Q&A session, but I think, can I just bully the people a bit and just be the first one to start the Q&A? From what you've been saying, Neil, from what you've been talking about, I can just quickly sum it up as very important to network. But now, going back to what you said earlier about South Africans being friendly people and those type of people who like relationships. We like building relationships. But now, I'm sure you've heard a bit about Bloemfontein or the Free State, that we are this community that is still using traditional methods to do business and all. So what would you advise someone who wants to be in the digital space? With you guys who are digital people, you are always considered dropouts, you are antisocial and all. But now, picking up what you said, it's very important to network. It's very important to know people, especially when we are going to be in business. How do you grapple with those two? Because you guys are always talking about weird stuff, about back ends and stuff. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? How do
I
you
think
deal
a
with network? How
combination.
do you? Yeah.
Yeah, no, a nice question, and I think the combination of it is key. So I think you can't build a business with no human factor, and that is not only in terms of getting customers, but also having fun together with your team. Go out sometimes for a dinner, or just a picnic, or do a little hike with each other, or go to the beach or whatever. So keep that human aspect. Also, in terms of more the technology side, yeah, I think it is important to have certain key parts implemented or work with. For example, you need a telephone, you need an email, you need to have maybe a calendar to nicely schedule your meetings. And when you do that on your phone, it synchronizes on your laptop, for example, to make things more efficient. So I think the bare minimums of technology will help you look more professional to potential buyers, but also will really streamline your own processes. So I think still using technology to impress people. Some people want to do it online, other people want to meet, and people that want to meet still go out and meet them, because I have experienced my conversion with people that are online that I have called, have done a cold call, so they didn't know about Room Raccoon, and people that I met in real life, the conversion is 20% versus 35%, or a little bit around that. So it's really a different approach, and I think it is still very important to keep that human aspect while using right technology to, yes, be more professional and automate processes.
No, thank you very much for that one. So when I'm looking at our chat box right now, it's nobody has said anything, but people are
I'm
very
also
happy to
excited.
have you. They've greeted you. But now, Niels, let me bully the people one more time and bully you into answering my questions. I want to know, Niels, looking at us and the types of relationships to create as people within the digital space, just tell somebody or tell me, someone who's in the Free State, about pricing for your services, because we were with other people right now. You might say doing a certain thing will be a certain, people like, no, you don't even have an office, how do you charge me like that? How you don't even have a Mercedes Benz, how do you charge me like that? How did you reach that type of price? So
Yeah,
can you just deal
no,
a little
very,
bit with the issue around pricing?
yeah, difficult question. That was always something we also in the beginning had struggles with. We call it objection handling. Why is your product worth that price? And what is very important in that is, first, know your own product and know your values and know what your competition does. So in our case, for a very good question, because in our case, my competitor, one of them, is 4 times cheaper than we are. So why would you go as a hotel work with a system that is 500 rand versus 2000 rand, for example? It fluctuates how big you are, but let's say that is the difference. How are you going to convince someone? Yeah, indeed, I'm not driving up with a Mercedes. Firstly, I would never recommend that to do that. Have just a simple car and enjoy that car, because it's such a show off if you want to start promoting your product and do that with such a car. No, but what I think is very important there is that you really focus on the value, and the value is the value is relative. So if your product is 2,000 rand and you can help the customer save 1,500 rand a month, save a customer 5 hours a month on admin processes, and maybe increase the revenue by 5,000 rand, yeah, that is already like, oh, okay, guys, yeah, you say you find us too expensive, but we just discussed you spend so much time on accounting, we reduced that by 5 hours a month. You say we can increase, or you admit that with the smart way of redoing revenue management, we can increase your revenue by 5,000 rand. Yeah, what do you mean that it's too expensive? So what is important is objection handling. Know what the customer's needs are and find the solution for that. And I did what I mentioned. What I did wrong myself is the first half year or 1.5 year, I didn't have people that knew about how to do that. I had to figure it out myself. So it took very long, which I'm training my colleague now to focus really on asking the right question to the customer. And when you know the right when you ask the right question, you can give the right answer that's going to tell them how they're going to save time, money, and increase their revenue. And then kind of people are not able to say no anymore because they already have said how much it's going to benefit their own business, or if it's going to be something for the guest itself, or for that it's a business to consumer product. Yeah, then it's obviously a little bit of a different story, but then you have to try to create excitement for guests or customers. I keep always mixing it up. Customers, you can't say customers in hotel industry. But yeah, then you have to try to read a different way of making them excited about something that is a bit different.
No, thank you very much, Neil. Thank you very much for that. And I'm looking at my chat box yet again, and I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not seeing anything in the chat box. But I think Rufilo has something to say.
Didn't you get my question in the chat box?
Not at all.
Maybe there's a delay in the system. I put it in the chat box. But my question has to do, like, I don't want to say you exude a lot of confidence, but you know the way you said when you first thought of, like in the beginning when you were starting the company, or you had approached a business and they never got back to you, but that didn't stop you then from approaching Room Raccoon and thinking then we can make this. I'm seeing opportunity in South Africa. And then additionally, you mentioned that you approached mentors. Like mentors are a key player in being a successful entrepreneur. So my question has to do with approach, like specifically for mentors. Like, what is the best way you would advise somebody to approach a mentor that they've never met, keeping in mind that these people might be getting multiple invites per week? So like, how do you like approach them and make yourself stand out in a way that they will see that, you know what, Refilwe is being genuine. She's not just trying to affiliate with me because I am who I am. Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense.
No, and I think it's a very cool question. I think how you a cool way how you think about that question, and I think it's something super interesting because, again, this is something that can really help indeed. And what I think is important, firstly, be authentic yourself, be meaningful, and really have a goal. Don't go to people that are high in the industry and mentors and come up with a nonsense story, because then obviously they will be like, oh, who is this lady or who is this guy? Have a real like drive for something. Hey, you really want to achieve something, and you wish somebody can give you 10 minutes or 20 minutes of this time to make a difference for them. So what I firstly think is important is join such events. Join, I hope, real-time events soon again, because there are going to be a lot of people on these kind of events that either are very excited about startups, that are investors, others that want to learn from this. Hey, is there some cool new ideas? Or people like us, hey, trying to start something and sharing ideas. So I think that is good to go to events and do networking. But also, what I think, and as for me, a very strong way of communication is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where you can very easily find people on there. You can very easily, without really big, you don't have to be very strong in your shoes to send somebody a message, for example. So I think that is also a very nice way to connect with people. And obviously through friends and family, if they constantly know somebody, hey, is your father maybe the head at Sasco, or maybe working at the government, or whatever they're doing, ask a few minutes of their time, and I will believe that they will be gladly want to help you if you have prepared and really have a passion for what you want to do.
Okay, thank you. I think you mentioned earlier on, like in the question, that you don't necessarily have to approach the highest person that there is. So yeah, I think that's quite a good point for me, because everybody wants to be around the person that they think is at the highest level of their game, but that person usually maybe might not have a lot of time. But if you can find somebody that is just as good, but maybe still coming up, I think,
Yeah, and I
that
think it's also not about the highest person. I think also I don't see myself also as the highest person in South Africa. I see myself here as with everyone, and I see them as my colleagues, and I see that I learn from them so much, and and they probably also learn a little bit from me. But what I think is important is when you want to kind of manage people, or when you want to identify, hey, how can we improve things, is you have to join your team at frontline. You have to understand what struggles they have. You have to chat with them, but you have to also experience it. And speaking throughout different type of people, the one knows a lot about the accounting part, the other one knows a lot about helping customers, the other one knows about selling, the other one knows about how to do partnerships. They all can be like the front line, and you can also learn a lot from these. And that's, I think, the key is being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you need to know everything. You need to surround yourself with the right people. If you can start employing people, let them join you with people that have different, we call it colors. So I'm a very red person, which is very extrovert and very competitive. But other people in my team are, for example, very blue, which is very much more structured and a bit like, oh yeah, I don't think change is great, but they are like super structured, and that's what these people you need in the team too. And then you have green people and yellow people, and if you can combine these type of people, you can see that if you connect all these people together, you're going to become the most amazing team. Because just imagine 2 Nielses here, both want to win. Yeah, it's not going to happen. But also no, but it's the same if you have two of you, that it's just difficult. There's not a right match. Just like if you want to get a partner, like being the same, it's not going to work out.
Okay, thank you. Sipe, I'm done.
Niels, I'm looking at our chat box and it still looks like everybody is afraid to ask you questions. Everybody is afraid to ask you questions.
They can reach me on LinkedIn, okay? If they have a question.
Okay, no, we'll definitely do that. We will definitely do that. So I have a very strong belief that when people are not asking questions, I can just give over to Refilwe to do some concluding remarks. And we appreciate you for the time that you spent with us, Niels. And we also like to send a very huge word of appreciation to our sponsors such as PayFast and PayPal. And Refilwe will continue and conclude. Thank you very much, Niels, and thank you to everyone who attended our session today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Refilwe?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, I just saw something in the chat, so I got a little bit distracted. But I don't think there's really much to say on my side, except thank you so much, Neil, for availing yourself and also availing yourself on your LinkedIn platform as well. So from my end, I just want to say thank you so much for really just giving back to the community. And I personally learned quite a few things, even though we had the pre-interview. There were some new things that I did pick up on today, and thank you so much for being so open with your experiences. So before we conclude, I don't know if there's any closing words you want to say, and then I can let people go. And and please, the session is recorded. So if you know anybody that's in the hospitality industry that was experiencing some challenges, please do refer them to the YouTube video. I will share the link on the social media platform. So yeah. So I don't know, Niels, if there's any closing words you want to say before we let you go.
No, I think I have said most of it, but I just want to say also thank you so much. Stay positive, stay passionate, and make it happen. And I appreciate you guys having me, and have a great day further. And I will let you know when I'm in Bloemfontein, and I will certainly pop by.
Yes, we'll definitely looking forward to having you over in the city. Okay, then. Thank you so much, everybody. I think leaving the session, while you guys leave, I'm just gonna play the video again so that I'm not just staring at the screen. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, and bye.
Bye-bye.